Eagles jumped out to a nice lead, and then didn't do anything.
It's such a weird team.
Jalen Hurts throws. He threw for 0 yards. 0. Now the good news
in the
is,
second half.
Yeah, second half. The Eagles also have 0 losses, so that's good. Meanwhile, A.J. Brown is tweeting the scripture, bro. If you're not welcome, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene. Shrug your shoulders and be on the way. Now, can't make fun of him. He's quoting the Bible, so everyone tread carefully.
I'm glad to see he's in his word. That's a little out of context.
Okay.
That was when Jesus sent the disciples out to preach the gospel. He wasn't
about
talking
targets?
about sports or targets or whatever. What's the question?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fair to be worried
Just
about
to
the
put it in
4-0
context.
Eagles.
Honestly, I'm going to say no. Like, why? They're 4-0. Their last 3 wins have been against Super Bowl contenders. And I get they should have a standard and look at their game and say, we got to improve, we got to improve. Mm-hmm. But as far as A.J. Brown, I'm either ignoring him. He had 9 targets yesterday.
I know, but they're fake. When you look, they're like
some of them he wasn't open. Some of them he wasn't open.
Like,
they tried to force it to him. Yeah. But he got some targets. And here's my thing, Coach. As hard as it is to win games in the NFL, I don't think you can get into style points and things like that. Now, again, you need to look and say, look, guys, we really aren't playing well. Fortunately, we've been winning, but let's improve this. Let's execute this better. But I think 2 years ago when they fell into the supernatural funk, it was because they bought into, well, yeah, we're 10-1, but the wins have been ugly. They've been too close. We haven't played well. And eventually that caught up to them. Okay. The Chiefs last year, I mean, they knew they needed to play better, but they weren't buying. I don't remember a ton of press conferences.
No,
yeah, they're like,
field goal
yeah, we're not playing well. Yeah. It's so tough to win that if you keep winning, you should be happy with that, even as you continue to work on your weaknesses.
Coach, can I show you this graphic that speaks to Brou? This century. Josh, I love when you do this century stuff. It makes it feel very long. 4-0 with each win by 1 score. Like you said, Brou, is last year's Chiefs lost the Super Bowl. The Jets lost the divisional round, and the Vikings lost the NFC Conference Championship. So, I don't know. This bodes well, although everything is ugly.
I don't know that I agree that bodes well.
You don't think so? Why? Because of the Jets?
No, because the Eagles want to get back to the Super Bowl. What that shows is that it's rare, and only one of the teams that did it got to the Super Bowl. I don't think it bodes terribly, but I don't think it bodes
well. I like that missed Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah.
Or missed playoffs. Yeah. I get nervous about.
Nothing says go away quietly like posting on X.
Right.
Let me quote the Bible and talk about going away quietly, but make sure that everybody knows that I'm going away quietly. There's nothing quiet about that. So here's where my concern is. Last year, when the book came out, remember, and they did that great piece on how he used the book on the sideline for motivation. It was such a good piece, really insightful. I got that bookmarked at home. So that happened during the playoffs. So that was a long, long time into the season. Now we're week 4, and we're already at the quotes and the discontent. And to me, if they give into this, that's going to create the problem. If they start feeding this complaining, that's going to create the problem. Would everybody in Philly be happier if they lost a game, but A.J. Brown had 15 catches? A.J. would be happy, but would anybody else be happy?
So hold on.
Go ahead.
Are you going to go away quietly?
No. I'm going to answer your question about would everybody else be happy, and the answer is maybe. So here's the thing. First of all, because what's going on in Philadelphia right now, this isn't concern trolling. This is historically unprecedented. Like Jalen Hurts just had a game that we haven't seen since Jake Delhomme, where you threw that much in the second half, you don't complete a pass. If we show you their first half, second half this week, Dust, what you see is that should be impossible. And then when you realize that it's back-to-back games like this, just in reverse order.
Yes.
Like Eagles, play a normal game challenge, impossible. So here is.
And they hung 30 on them.
No. So here is where I will today. because I complimented the Eagles last week. Wilds didn't take it as this when I said they're the new Chiefs. As far as even when you win, you get nitpicked, the close, whatever. Take a page out of the Chiefs 2 years ago when they were the defending champions playbook and practice. Use part of the games as practice, even if it might, maybe it costs you a game. But work on this stuff not just to satiate A.J. Brown, but also to get better at it. Like,
how about though we work? So, I think that's smart, but let's work on that against some of the lesser teams, not Tampa Bay.
In practice.
Because it's not, because that doesn't make A.J. Brown happy, and I understand it should. Coach, listen, I understand this is not the platonic ideal for a wide receiver to help you go win a Super Bowl, but it's the wide receiver you got, and he's one of the greatest in the history of your franchise as far as the all-pros, the prolificness, all of it. And if you are trying to get through another 15, 17 games together, you need to do it. And that Chiefs team that you guys gave me a hard time on, that I said was practicing, was the one that lost games in the middle of the year, that did have to go on the road, and then in the playoffs knew everything they could do and play every different type of way that they needed to play. If you're Philly, because they are a great team, and I still have some concerns about the defense, but DeJean keeps getting better and better. So you have a little regular season wiggle room. And what you can't, in my opinion, afford is the Week 7 Jay Glazer Fox NFL Sunday report of A.J. Brown is requesting a trade.
To where?
Maybe back to Tennessee.
No,
not back to Tennessee to his old coach.
No,
He wants
exactly
to England.
where he wants him to go.
But do you understand?
No, I agree. That's to me like Coach. I was gonna say. He was doing this last year, and they won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
To me, where it becomes really problematic is if he does request a trade. That's when it really becomes a fact.
But there's all sorts of, I don't know if you're up on the Eagles cap situation, but I thought it was very punitive to trade A.J. Brown.
I bet it is.
Oh, okay.
I don't think A.J. Brown is that concerned about how punitive it would be for Howie Roseman. I'm not even saying they necessarily would trade him. I'm saying once a player requests a trade.
So do you think mid-season, if they're undefeated, that A.J. Brown would say, I would rather go to a team that's probably not going to make the playoffs, but I'm going to get that many more catches.
He told us that.
He tweeted that.
He literally 3 days after the Super Bowl put on Instagram, I'm paraphrasing, I didn't ask the producers to pull it, and I'm not unfairly paraphrasing. I thought winning a Super Bowl would make me happy. Turns out I was wrong. What makes me happy is seeing a D-back demoralized from me crushing him. He told us what makes him go, and he is trying to. And this is where I give A.J. Brown. I try to give him
Dallas.
Grace.
They've got extra first-round draft picks. He said they were willing to do something big.
He's trying. He's right now he's trying to be a good teamate. Honestly, he's
out of all the Bible verses,
I'm not throwing a tantrum. I'm not mouthing off to reporters. But he's that frustrated, and they're undefeated. That's the other thing. How does this work out if Baker doesn't throw that pick? You know what I mean? If one of these games had they lost, is the only reason it's not a real tipping point is because yes, we're winning. They're not going to go undefeated.
Last year when they threw all those passes, we didn't have to debate, what it'd be like if they were undefeated, because they weren't. They were 2-2. Yeah. It didn't work out that way.
More on the Eagles shortly. We've got to get to Bru's grade here. Cowboys-Packers ends in a tie. Dak has 4 total touchdowns, 319 yards. George Pickens has the best day as a Cowboy. Brou is just quietly underneath Dak's soundbite trying to figure out what previous grades he had given.
He's trying to calculate their GPA on the fly.
Well, yeah, I think I gave him a C+ for the loss to the Eagles.
You definitely gave him a B early in the year.
For a week, I gave him a B.
You gave him a B in one of their against the Giants.
I gave him a B in the Eagles, and then I gave him a C in the loss.
Yes.
In the lower loss. So I grade the Cowboys on a curve.
Oh.
All right?
Yeah.
There was, Coach, everyone thought maybe except you, because I know Schottenheimer's your boy, but everybody else thought they were going to get clobbered. right? Micah's coming in there. You don't have CD Lamb. I mean, I thought it was going to be over, especially with the way the Packers started. Going up 13-0, Jordan Love throws the bomb. The Cowboys showed some heart. They showed some fight. They showed some toughness. Dak was phenomenal.
Yeah.
My man Javonte Williams was great. The running game is
Your guy
back.
George Pickens.
George Pickens did his thing. He dropped another easy one, but he was fantastic. And look, the defense came up with the big fumble recovery, and then the special teams.
Yeah.
So you got at all three levels. The defense wasn't great, but they did force the fumble. That's all I'm saying on Jordan Love. And then the special teams points. So I gave them. It's a tie.
Yeah.
But I gave them an A-.
Wow.
The minus is for, I can't give you an A in a tie, anything but a win. But I thought they were strong.
Wow.
When's the last time they got an A?
This might be the first.
I feel like this is.
This might be a first.
Yeah.
But I respect to the Cowboys for what they did yesterday.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You go into that game, and I know Green Bay had hopes of going undefeated that were dashed last week against the Browns. That was unfortunate. And then, I mean, they had Micah Parsons.
Well, he did save the game.
No, he did. I mean, that sack that he had chasing Dak down the back.
It saved the game, Coach.
That was worth being the highest paid non-quarterback.
Well, it was worth. It was
just that.
It's
alone.
why they didn't lose the game.
No, I mean, 40 points. I mean, look, the Micah factor.
Yes,
they're
but
right there.
Dak
they
was going to run for a
if he wasn't
touchdown.
there.
No, what they would have had is 44 and won the game.
And with CeeDee Lamb didn't. All right, so they didn't have their best receiver. Their best player was in Green Bay because he got traded there. And I am so impressed with Dak, and I feel like I've been hard on Dak in the sense that I think he's been a good quarterback, but never saw him as being the highest paid quarterback and being that elite sort of force multiplier. But it's hard to argue that what he's done this season hasn't been elite and hasn't been a force multiplier. And he has put them on their back and willed them to levels that I didn't think they were going to be able to show this early on, especially with the struggles that they've had defensively. But he's been really, really impressive.
Yeah, if they had one difference-making defensive player, they'd be 3-1.
Yeah, I mean,
listen, Coach.
Or what's Green Bay 2-1-1?
Green Bay's 2-1-1.
Oh, they
One of those
too.
games, they allowed essentially 3 points on defense. Like I was surprised that Dallas was able to keep it close because I was surprised that they were able to move the ball the way they were without CeeDee Lamb. And while I disagree wholeheartedly with basically everything Coach has said about Micah, I agree with him wholeheartedly about. I think, and I know, Brou, you mentioned the other day about like Dak's numbers hadn't been great this year. I thought Dak's been playing awesome, and finally he had the stats of an awesome game. And I have been really impressed by Schottenheimer. I have to give, I have to be fair. They are a prolific offensive team, and they were able to do it in this game without one of their better offensive linemen, without their best receiver, with a running back that we all thought was just, kind of replacement level. And Dak's been great, and the offense has been interesting. And I also thought they managed the game better than Green Bay did, which I know we'll talk about Green Bay's side of it later.
The end was a mess.
Yeah, and so, I mean, listen, I can't get over the Micah trade when I watch this team score the way they score, because I do feel like that if they just had the 20th best defense in football, that they could be a real problem this year. I do.
The team he's on gave up 40 points, too.
And the team he's on had been dominant in the 3 games prior defensively. They had one bad defensive game.
Don't you think if they had Mike, I think they'd be a legit
They would have.
in the NFC.
Head across the pond where the Steelers took care of Carson Wentz and the Vikings. Rodgers had exactly 200 yards, and the Steelers defense held strong at the end of just a debacle. Here's the standings, Brou. Check this out. AFC North standings. The Steelers are 3-1, but they have the second best odds. Then it's the Bengals, who play tonight. They've got the third best odds. Then it's the 1-3 Ravens, who actually have the best odds to win the AFC North by a lot for all the gamblers out there. Now, does this give you hope, or are you concerned that the division now belongs to the Steelers?
I think it all depends on Lamar. Like, does he miss? Is this a hamstring injury where he misses a game or two. They need to beat Houston and the Rams, or at least one of them.
Yeah.
And so, if not really both, if he misses, say, a game or two and they lose it, now that record's starting to really get poor. If he plays next weekend and mentally he's fine, I mean, obviously it was a tough weekend for him. If he's fine, then I think they'll still win the division. They're only 2 games back, and they play the Steelers twice. So they still control their own destiny. And now the schedule does get lighter.
I think it's the 8th easiest schedule, according to Bill Barnwell, from here on.
Yeah,
I think the Steelers should make the playoffs. So I do think at this point looking at the AFC, they're a playoff.
You think the Steelers are going to win the division?
No, I think Baltimore's still going to win.
Yeah, I do too. Like their defense has been decimated, right? There's 7 out of 11 starters didn't play, so that's almost the whole team. And it's as bad as it looked. Any team's going to look pretty bad if you're losing 7 out of your 11 starters.
It's crazy they were favored.
And they've got Lamar, and it wasn't his best game this past weekend, but I don't think that by any stretch this is going to continue the way it's gone.
You're not worried about the devastating hamstring?
I'm not worried about that. I'm not really worried about Derrick Henry's fumbles. I would imagine that those 2 guys at any point could switch back to what we've seen, and they could run away with the division. And at any point, Aaron and Pittsburgh could go pumpkin.
Yeah.
Oh, listen. So
their defense has picked up a little.
I fully expect Lamar to instantly look like Lamar again, because he's looked like Lamar every moment since he came back, since he signed the new contract. He's always looked like Lamar. He has been absolutely unbelievable, except for in very specific high-leverage moments when he has looked exactly like I expect Lamar Jackson to look. Like you tweeted, like this team is unrecognizable and recognizable, and I said, like, it's totally recognizable to me. It's exactly what I expect. So I don't think there's going to be lingering effects for Lamar. I think that assuming he's playing, I bet he'll play really well against Houston, even though Houston's a great defense.
He's not going to miss any time with this hamstring?
I don't think so.
Weird then.
It was a weird injury that none of us saw him, like, we didn't know when it happened, and none of the trainers helped him get over.
What was the score when he had that?
17. They were down
27-10, was it?
They were down 17.
They were down 17.
When Cooper Rush came back in, it was 30-13, and when Tony Romo said they might be getting a spark from Cooper Rush.
There was a play that people are now kind of pointing to. I don't know who tracks him down. Chanel, maybe? Where he's like running to the first down marker, where he just doesn't look like Lamar.
No,
he looks like 75.
Right,
but he's not, he's not
maybe it was
limping, but he just doesn't look like he has the burst.
And Harbaugh yesterday after the game, Harbaugh was like, when he was asked could he have gone back in, he was like, I don't know. Harbaugh today said no, he couldn't have gone back in. Now, we didn't hear from Lamar because the Ravens have a policy of if you leave a game with injury, you're not allowed to do
You're not allowed. It's like a league policy.
No, it's the team's policy is if you leave a game with an injury, you're not allowed to do interviews.
You're not. So whose policy? You get what happens?
I don't know. Again, I'm just telling you.
Lamar is one of the faces of the league.
Is it not allowed, or you don't have to?
It's the Ravens team policy that if the player leaves with injury.
So if Lamar said, "Excuse me, I understand it is a team rule, but I'm Lamar Jackson, multiple-time MVP, facing my arch rival in a huge game, and we're 1-3. I need to address the media, and I came out in the third quarter."
I think the Ravens.
They would have said no.
I think the Ravens, whoever's Big Dom for the Ravens, tackles him. It's like you're not allowed.
Come on.
But can I just answer the question quickly? Because I know we're going to talk more Ravens and Chiefs in a minute. We are still talking about the Ravens as if they don't have the worst defense in the league. And when you have the worst defense in the league, you can lose any game you play.
True.
So I am not worried that Lamar is not going to play well against Houston or the Rams or after the bye. I'm not worried about that. I am worried, if I were a Ravens fan, that a Houston team that had, I know they ended up blowing out the Titans. They had 6 points late into that game.
Yeah.
But Nick, are you saying that when the Ravens have all their players on defense, they're still the worst defense?
What I'm saying is
because
that
whenever we talk about Kansas City when they have their injured receivers and they can't, throw for more than 150 yards. It's always, well, as soon as they get those guys back.
Right, but they're not
So
getting
is this the
Matabuke
worst
back.
defense?
Matabuke's done for the year.
That's one.
Their secondary, I had questions about beforehand. If they last year
I'm trying to just put it in context.
They
You're
will
saying
get
that
better when they get
as
their
they get
guys
healthy.
back,
Do you
yeah.
still feel like defensively
I don't
they're
think
gonna be
they
this
will
bad?
be. I don't think they will be 32nd. But I watched the Ravens defense week 1 when it was fully healthy allow 41. And so I watched the Ravens defense for the first 10 weeks of last year be awful and then flip a
It got
switch
better.
seemingly.
Yeah.
And
Which I
so
think it'll get better this year.
I think the Steelers are not as good as a 3-1 record, but I still think Baltimore needs to get to 10 wins to win the division.
Yeah.
Previous 2 times the Ravens were 1-3, 05 and 2015, they missed the playoffs. You know, first things first, it's that show where they huddle up before every question. Not this segment. No huddle. Jordan Love had 3 touchdowns, but a costly fumble that gave the Cowboys some momentum turned the game. Micah didn't wreck the game, but maybe he saved it in what went down as a sack in overtime. Dak was shocked that was registered as a sack. Here's a somewhat
There's Dak running for the winning touchdown. Oh, hawk down.
Do we crown the Packers too early?
I mean, look, the Packers are my pick to get to the Super Bowl in the NFC. I feel good about that pick. But anyone who was like, it's over, they're head and shoulders above everybody else in the NFC, yeah, that's too soon. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like they're not a Super Bowl contender. Like,
I agree with you.
I think anybody saying, oh, are they really a legit contender? That's crazy. And I get it. The last 2 games haven't been great. You can't name an elite team in the league, or any team for that matter, that has not looked bad at times. Tampa beat 3 teams that are 1-8. I don't know what they did this weekend, the record now, but then lost to the only winning team they played. The Chiefs obviously had their moments of looking bad. The Chargers just lost to the winless Giants. Obviously, the Ravens, the Bills, the Saints gave them all they wanted for most of that game. And the week before, Miami did the same. So I just think this was not good. And I said last week, Coach, I kind of think this is good for them because I get it. The Cleveland game should have been the wake-up call. But I think this team is they're young. They've really been feeling themselves. We got this superstar in Micah. We're going to roll through the league. I think yesterday they went into Dallas thinking, they're going to roll over. We're about to tear them up. Then all of a sudden, especially they go up 13-0, you relax. Then you find you're in a game. And the other teams got momentum, and now you got to get it back going. And so, no, I still think they're fine as far as going forward.
Yeah, they got that same wake-up scenario that my kids do. So they set like 17 alarms. So yes, Cleveland was like one wake-up call, and then we'll go to Dallas, we'll get another, I'll hit the snooze button. I mean, a few weeks ago, weren't they going undefeated? I think they were going undefeated,
One
right?
They needed
offensive
that's why they needed an L.
Look, Micah's mad. Micah, know who's mad, Micah? Everybody in Green Bay. But they brought you there. You're the highest-paid non-quarterback
He's
in the
been
NFL.
excellent, Coach, until this game.
I mean, look, 40 points. It's a smidge above a shutout. 40 points, it's right there. And then the sack he had, I mean, that was dynamic.
That was saving.
That was a huge play, though. It's overtime. He's going to score a touchdown.
I mean, that alone justifies a trade. Okay. Just that. I mean, and CeeDee Lamb had a great. Oh,
he didn't play. Hold on. We're into the Cowboys in a second. Okay. Hold on. Can I say what I actually think is the bigger story? Listen, I believe the Packers defense is going to be excellent. I think that they played I think they played 3 A-level games defensively, and then played a really poor game yesterday. I think what Coach talks to us a lot about, which is walking in thinking this is going to be easy. You know, there's no CeeDee Lamb. There's and you would have hoped that wouldn't have happened because the Browns lost, but Packers defense didn't leave that Browns game thinking we played poorly. They're like, we played great. Like, we're awesome. So that's not what concerns me for the Packers. What concerns me for the Packers is the end of that game. Because one of 2 things was going on. Or kind of both things. Matt LaFleur, if people didn't watch the very end of the game, let me just kind of set it up. New overtime rules, both teams get the ball no matter what. But same as before, if one team kicks a field goal, though, you get a chance to match. But also, at the end of 10 minutes, game's over, no matter what. Cowboys didn't have timeouts. The Packers got the ball down there quick, relatively. And then maybe in part because, understandably, LaFleur was so terrified of Aubrey that are, like, if we leave them 20 seconds, if we leave them 20 seconds to get into midfield, you know what I mean? We're in trouble.
Is a great returner.
But the thing is this. You score a touchdown, and Brandon Aubrey's out of it. The game is over with a touchdown. He didn't seem to call plays that fully trusted Jordan Love definitely is not going to turn this ball over. You know what I mean? That even though Jordan Love was playing really well, and then that, to me, was justified by the Packers butchering the end. They were incredibly lucky that the Cowboys home clock operator forgot he was the Cowboys home clock operator and had a real true trigger, because it felt like they were a quarter of a second.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
When does that play actually?
When the ball hits
touches the ground. When the ball hits the ground.
Like right.
And it was, and so like
I'd have been like,
but they almost got procedural penalty on that, which would have been 10-second runoff and off and gone. Love didn't realize that because he kept it in bounds, and because even when he kept it in bounds, the guy was slow getting up and getting the ball over, that I know we had 2 plays called, but now I just have to spike it. Or if I can't spike it, you know what I mean? They almost blew it.
Yep.
They almost really blew it, and that's the part that concerns me was they're going to be in these close, high-leverage spots. LaFleur didn't seem to fully trust him, and then Love didn't seem to fully deal with it well, even though he played he scored 40 points, played a really good game. But that part worries me a little bit.
As much as I like J-Lo, there's some things, turnovers. He could have had an interception yesterday that got called back. So,
All right, Cowboys side of things. Dak easily handled this ballyhooed Packers defense. He threw for almost 320, had 3 TDs, ran one in. Coach, your reaction?
That felt personal.
Yeah.
That was very personal. He's taking some serious bows there. Hey, it's easy. The guy I kept was indispensable. The other guy, not so much. Now, I don't know if I would be taking such a strong bow at this point because there's so much football left, and I think Mike is going to have a significant impact on Green Bay, and he's going to play great. I know I give him a hard time, but that's going to work out well for Green Bay, and we don't know how well it's going to work out for Dallas because we won't know until we see what draft picks they got. Granted, it was a tie, and I'm sure Jerry wanted to win, but Jerry could not have thought going into this game that they were going to hang 40 on this defense, and Micah was barely going to have any contribution to the game. But I don't know if I would be too smug right now until this all plays out.
Yeah, I don't think he was vindicated. Like you said, it was a great showing because we all thought they were going to get blown away. Only way he's vindicated in this trade is if Micah does not win a Super Bowl with the Packers, during his prime, like these next 5 years or whatever, doesn't win a Super Bowl in Green Bay, and those draft picks from the trade become great players and help Dallas become, I'll just say, a legitimate Super Bowl contender where maybe they get to the championship game, maybe they get to the Super Bowl. That's the only way it's vindicated to me.
Listen, this might seem unfair, but it's just how I truly feel. Every game the Cowboys offense looks great and they don't win, I feel like this trade gets worse. Every game like this where it's, because by the way, they didn't trade Micah for 2 firsts and an offensive player. Right. They traded Micah for 2 firsts and Kenny Clark, a defensive player. Like the impact of that trade on this season, it has nothing to do with the offense at all. And the offense is humming and Dak is playing great. And so I look at it as the exact opposite. The Cowboys through 4 games are much better offensively than I anticipated, which if I were a Cowboys fan would make this trade that much harder to swallow. Where I understand Philly is undefeated and the Super Bowl champs and looks great. I don't know if looks great's the right word, but they played a really tough schedule and they're undefeated. But other than that, if you're the Cowboys and you're like, man, with this offense, do we think we could stare down the Rams or the Bucs in a playoff game? Like, you know what I mean? Offense for offense? Yes, but not with the defense the way it is.
But also, when Jerry made that trade, and granted I'm a Brian Schottenheimer fan, I'm sure he had some reservations or concerns as to how well this was going to go with a rookie head coach who's also calling the offense.
You believed him.
Yeah, so I'm sure that played into it as well. And now that they're doing as well as they are, in retrospect, it may not look as attractive. But
head to the Meadowlands. The Chargers temporarily blinded by Jackson Dart's aura. as the rookie wins his debut, and the Giants' defense finally looked frisky, Coach. Herbert threw 2 picks, barely got over 200 yards. Nick, I'll start with you. Did we crown the Chargers too early?
Royal we, maybe. I mean, folks that just were convinced that a down-to-the-wire win against the Broncos, a good, solid, all-around win against the Chiefs in Brazil, and beating the Raiders, which the Raiders are having some struggles, even though Ashton Genty, good game, still believe, was enough to make the Chargers not the Chargers anymore. So crazy to me. And I don't know what Brou's ballot's going to look like. I don't know what Parkin's peak is going to look like. I do know this. Justin Herbert, those were an awesome first 2 games, buddy. I know that. And we can, I mean, this is what it is. So we're an awesome first 2 games. Like, really great first 2 games, Justin. I think they were impressive. Since then, that's not very good. And what was bizarre to me, Coach, was the thing I text you, which is their rookie running back, Omarion Hampton, had 12 carries for 130 yards in a game that was nip and tuck against a rookie quarterback. It's Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman, but they, you know what I mean? Listen, when you have Peyton Manning 2.0, I guess you just got to throw the ball around the field. And now all of a sudden they're banged up, and they gave a game away they shouldn't, and the huge lead on the Chiefs is down to a game. That's concerning to me if I'm them.
I don't think we crowned them as a contender too early. I think they're legit. Obviously, yesterday was a bad game. I think Harbaugh is great. And so I think we look what he's done in the NFL. I don't think they're going to be the same old Chargers that under Brandon Staley as they will be under Harbaugh. But it seems like some coaches have trouble getting that balance. Because last year they ran to the point where it's like, man, they should let Herbert throw a little more. And now this year they're throwing it so much, and you say, well, they get
Herbert's
a little more of a run game. So
getting beat up.
I don't understand why these coaches can't get more of a balance there.
Well, remember last year, the year before they got there, Herbert had good production, but he had a bunch of turnovers.
Yep.
Last year, he only had the 3 turnovers during the regular season, and they did control things pretty dramatically. And I imagine they thought that, similar to Josh Allen, he had gotten over that turnover hump. And now we're 4 games into it. He's got 3 turnovers already this season, which matches his total last year. And as we've talked about, as you go through this first part of the season, there's who you want to be, and then there's the reality of who you have to be. And the good coaches figure out who you have to be. And especially with the Chargers situation, they've lost 2 offensive tackles. Yeah. So to put him back there, dropping back to pass that many times with a really good running back, a really good young running back, and putting all that pressure on backup offensive tackles, yeah, I think that maybe they got a little bit lost in the game plan and where Herbert's progression was. I would imagine they'll recalibrate and we'll see something different.
Giants pressured Herbert on 48% of his drops. Giants defense coach back, Abdul Carter.
Well, they got a little shot in the arm with the new quarterback. Hopefully this can be a trend.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.